This is CBC Here and Now.
Big change in the pattern means more seasonable temperatures are on the way.
I'm very frustrated. I'm angry. I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely angry.
A client threatened her and her car window was smashed. Now a former social worker is speaking out.
After months of repeated setbacks, there's a glimmer of positivity for the province's battered oil industry. I'm Terry Roberts and I'll explore that story coming up.
Welcome to Here and Now, I'm Carolyn Stokes. There are new developments tonight involving a controversial video out of Happy Valley Goose Bay. A law firm will investigate what led to a municipal enforcement officer throwing a handcuffed Inuk man to the ground during an arrest. As Here and Now's Garrett Berry reports, some residents are so frustrated they went to the town hall to send a message to council.
You can be arrested and you can be handcuffed, but you don't have to be thrown on your face on the ground. That's why I'm here. The judge decides punishment for people, not a town cop or enforcement officer or whatever his title is.
The organizer counted about 80 people at today's rally. Many spoke passionately about what they saw on video.
I'm just trying to be a voice for all Indigenous youth and others because we need to be heard. We suffer, and all I know is that this wasn't right. Being thrown down by someone like that for nothing. Why?
Many in the crowd calling for discipline against the officer involved.
So I think I'm here to ask the town, and the people to ask the town to have that guy removed immediately.
Inside this building, council met for the first time since the video was made public. Just long enough to hire a law firm and talk about the importance of their independent investigation. Two town councillors returned to address the crowd outside.
I think we've took the appropriate measures that we can take. Anytime a law enforcement officer is accused of wrongdoing, there is a process. So that process has been put in motion. There will be an investigation, and if it's deemed that there's any wrongdoing, the appropriate action will be taken.
The mayor once again turned down our requests for an interview today, but after that council meeting, the town office did release a statement saying the whole truth must come out in a thorough, complete, and independent manner. Garrett Berry, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
Well, still with this story, a Labrador MHA is continuing to come under fire for comments he made about homeless people in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Today in the House of Assembly, Perry Trimper was accused of victim blaming. Here Now's Mark Quinn reports.
MHA Perry Trimper is apologizing for comments he made on CBC Radio's Labrador Morning. Trimper is being criticized for using the word choice when he said homeless people in Happy Valley Goose Bay are choosing a lifestyle that puts them at risk.
I regret using that word, understanding how some people have reacted to it. When you're interacting with folks with addictions and mental health issues and with an Indigenous background, the choice is not there.
Torngat Mountain's MHA Leela Evans raised the issue in the House today.
Constituents of his and of mine heard his comments, stating that some transient people in our province were choosing a life of addiction rather than taking advantage of the help. So I asked the minister, is blaming the victims of intergenerational trauma or any other type of problems that lead to addictions the new policy position of the Liberal government?
Later, outside the House, Evans explained why she believes it was wrong for Trimper to suggest that homeless people were making bad choices.
I'm not a social worker or counselor. I have no training, but I recognize the impact that addictions has on people, and it derails people. And so when somebody is choosing not to, like a person don't really choose, the addiction chooses for them. So the addiction is making the decisions for the people to remain homeless.
This is the second time that Trimper has made comments that people have found offensive. Last year, he apologized after he was heard in a leaked voicemail recording saying some Indigenous people were playing the race card. Deputy Premier Siobhan Cody said Premier Fury is reviewing Trimper's recent comments. Evans says it should be up to the people of the Lake Melville district to decide in the next election if they want to re-elect Trimper. Evans is a PC member of the House, but she said as an Indigenous person she could not vote for Trimper. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
A former social worker in Labrador says she quit her job with the province after a client threatened her and smashed the windows of her vehicle. Caval McNeil says she's angry and frustrated because the government hasn't reimbursed her for the damage. Meanwhile, her union says McNeil is not alone. Many other social workers are concerned about their safety. Here Now's Heather Gillis reports.
It's been very challenging. I'm not gonna lie, it's been difficult.
Caval McNeil has been a social worker with the Department of Children, Seniors and Social Development since 2013. She's passionate about the challenging and stressful work she did in child protection. But it all came to a breaking point in March when she was threatened by a client.
It was basically that I would be paid a visit.
Days later, on March 21st, 2 windows in McNeil's truck were smashed. 3 days later, the window to her daughter's bedroom was also broken. McNeil says the damage was in the thousands. When she told her employer, the provincial government, McNeil says they told her to use insurance to cover the damage and seek help from the Employee Assistance Program, something she says isn't the answer.
We should not have to be, paying out of our own pocket for those kinds of things. It's not my fault.
She submitted a claim to the provincial government, but more than 6 months later, she still hasn't been reimbursed.
I'm very frustrated. I'm angry. I'm not going to lie, I'm definitely angry. I feel very let down. I've committed myself for almost 7 full years, very passionately, to the department. I've worked endless hours.
As for reimbursing McNeil for the physical damage, the province is mum, citing privacy. In a statement, they say they're required to maintain confidentiality related to employees' personal information and work history.
Our department has reached out and we've done all that we could possibly do.
Brian Warr is the Minister of CSSD. He says he can't speak directly to the issue, but he does say a government-wide personal loss policy states a deputy minister can approve a loss claim up to $1,000, but anything over that requires approval from the Human Resources Secretariat. Warr says McNeil's claim doesn't meet policy, and a decision is still being made.
I certainly respect the decision that she's made. We go out of our way to ensure the safety, of our social workers, and certainly we value the work.
But what's worse than broken glass, McNeil says, is the loss of a sense of safety in her own home and hometown, on top of the lack of support from her employer. She says as a social worker, it's her job to ensure the safety and well-being of children. But she says the attack, in turn, jeopardized the safety of her own.
I actually subjected my children to emotional and physical risk. And that is a part that I sleep with that really bothers me.
I heard about that situation, and there's been others. We've had to have social workers extracted from certain areas because of the threat they were under.
NAPE President Jerry Earle says he's not satisfied with the government telling McNeil to use insurance to repair the damage.
That's not acceptable. This was damage that was done because of a part of her job that she was doing, but the employer is the ultimate responsibility for the health and safety of its workers.
Earle says McNeil isn't alone, and he's concerned about the work conditions for social workers. In a survey of 350 social workers in January, a majority says they've witnessed or experienced violence. They call their jobs very or extremely stressful, and they say the workload has increased and that they don't have good work-life balance. Half said they were concerned about their safety at work, and nearly 80% said their employer wasn't hearing or addressing concerns, and the situation's getting worse.
And it's gravely concerning because these social workers, they deal with the most vulnerable populations in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Both McNeil and NAPE President Jerry Earle say working conditions for social workers is creating problems with recruitment and retention of social workers in rural areas of the province. The union and the minister met earlier today. Then in the House, the minister said he's committed to working with NAPE and social workers. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
Daytime temperatures a little cooler than what we were seeing yesterday, particularly along the west coast. 13 degrees was the afternoon high in Corner Brook, 3 in Happy Valley Goose Bay, and those temperatures not even out of the minus single digits for Lab City, currently or saw a high near -2 today. Temperature near 6 degrees in St. John's. That was earlier this morning. Temperatures have been sitting around 13, 14 degrees for most of the day. We do have an area of high pressure in place. That's going to move through quite quickly, and in behind that, an area of low pressure is going to bring some snow, already bringing some snow up through Labrador, but that's going to continue to track further east as we head through the night tonight. Chilly start to the morning again up through portions of Labrador, and then a lovely start as far as temperature goes for the island, but things are certainly going to change as we head towards the weekend. I'll have all those details in your full forecast coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. A sizable police presence showed up on Spencer Street in downtown St. John's this morning following an alleged attack, and police are asking for the public's help. Around 9:30 this morning, police were called following a disturbance. The RNC's major crime unit and forensic team held the scene for a few hours today as officers investigated what happened. One man was taken to hospital with serious injuries, and police aren't saying the cause of those injuries. The RNC says the investigation is ongoing and there's no update on the injured man's condition.
So right now, the severity of the injuries are undetermined. The investigation's in its early stages. Right now, there is a crime scene that officers are maintaining continuity of, and we're asking anyone that may have witnessed anything or anyone that has any CCTV, any video surveillance, contact the RNC or Crime Stoppers.
Well, police in Gander are looking for the public's help in identifying a suspect involved in a break-and-enter. The RCMP says the paint shop on Airport Boulevard was broken into last Wednesday. Surveillance footage from inside the business showed a male entering through a smashed side door around 2 a.m. Police say he appears to be young in age, has brown hair and a small build. He was wearing a black and white camouflage face mask, black clothing, and blue sneakers. Anyone with information is asked to contact the RCMP or Crime Stoppers. Well, an industry that has been bombarded with repeated setbacks is celebrating a rare victory. There will be at least one exploration well drilled in the Newfoundland offshore next year. But as Terry Roberts reports, industry boosters say more activity will be needed to reverse what has become a dire situation.
Despite the global pandemic and uncertainties in the oil markets, it appears Chinese oil company CNOOC has not given up on offshore Newfoundland. An expensive drilling campaign was canceled this summer because of COVID-19. Well, now a deal is in place to do that work next summer. CNOOC has hired this ship, the Stena Forth, to drill an exploration well in the Flemish Pass. It will be a 90-day project, creating nearly 400 direct and indirect jobs, injecting tens of millions into the economy. And industry boosters hope it will lead to the next major oil discovery.
It's been 7 gruesome months of bad news and delay and cancellation after delay and cancellation. So it's good to see that this well is proceeding next year.
It's big news for a reeling supply and service sector, and an important step for those hoping to see more oil produced in the offshore. But Johnson says one exploration well is not enough. The industry, she says, is in crisis mode, with $4 billion in exploration commitments now in jeopardy. Johnson is calling on the provincial government to release details of its exploration incentive program, one that might encourage companies like CNOOC to expand its drilling campaign next year.
It's very important to have clarity and certainty for any investors.
Oil companies have slashed exploration budgets, so in a bid to kickstart the industry, the province promised last month to provide cash to companies to help defer the expense of an exploration well, which can cost up to $100 million each. The money will come from forfeited down payments made by companies on exploration projects. Companies are required to hand over 25% of the projected cost of their work commitments. The money is held in trust by the Offshore Petroleum Board. The companies have 6 years to do the work, or those down payments are defaulted. It's conceivable that up to $46 million in security payments could become available next year alone, with that figure steadily increasing in future years. All this could set up a scenario where a Chinese company, one closely linked to the ruling Chinese Communist Party, might receive financial support to do exploration work. Indeed, an official with the province's energy department told me that CNOC is very interested in the exploration incentive program, but that no approvals have yet been made, and the criteria for the program are still being worked on. But Johnson says foreign investment has been critical to building the offshore, and the province could benefit greatly from these incentives.
And I hope that will build and attract more investment so that we can have 10, 15 wells over the next year or two.
Johnson says the transition away from oil and gas is approaching, and long delays in exploration could mean much of the offshore resource could be left in the ground, and the much-needed economic benefits could slip through our fingers. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
Now to the latest with COVID-19 in Newfoundland and Labrador. There are no new cases and 2 more people have recovered, bringing the province back down to 9 active cases. It's been nearly 8 months since the start of the pandemic, and while some restrictions have lifted on movement, rotational workers and their families say their quality of life is still decreasing. Here Now's Meg Roberts is looking into that tonight, and she joins me live. So Meg, what are you hearing?
Well, we're coming on about 9 weeks into the provincial government relaxed restrictions for rotational workers. Now, if you're a worker coming in outside the Atlantic bubble, you only have to self-isolate for 7 days as long as you have a negative test result. But for families like the Johnsons, that is not an option. Deirdre Johnson's husband works 14 days in BC, and he comes home for 6 days. And he has not been out in public since March. Johnson's saying that this is taking a toll on their mental health.
It's been really hard on our marriage. Rotational work is hard on a marriage on a good year. As time goes on, we talk more and more seriously about what it would look like for us to leave Newfoundland, and what it would look like for us to live somewhere that we could live a better quality of life, because the pandemic is not going to end anytime soon.
Johnson says that she can't understand why she's allowed to come and go while her husband self-isolates in the same house. She is calling on testing to be done immediately upon return to the province so that her family can live some sort of normal lifestyle. Now, the provincial chief medical officer of health, Dr. Janice Fitzgerald, says that they are looking into ways to make things easier for rotational workers, and they'll have more information once the evaluation on the pilot project is complete.
And Meg, the regular health briefing was held today. What came out of that?
Well, the Health Minister, John Haggie, is excited to confirm the federal government will be sending rapid COVID-19 tests to the province. Now, this is especially good news for northern communities. As the weather gets worse and colder, it might not be so easy to ship those swabs and tests back across the province. So this rapid testing would be able to get results almost immediately. So Haggie's expecting the testing machines to be in the next week or two.
Yes, we have been told we will get them. The exact number is up for debate. It's somewhere between 24 and 28, as far as I gather from discussions, although that may be finalised a little bit higher. These are to be used for outbreaks, and they will come with 1,000 cartridges per box.
Also, officials say they're still trying to work out a plan, a COVID-19 plan for the Christmas season, but they should be updating the public in the next few weeks. And one last thing, flu shot clinics opened across the province today, and officials are urging people to get out there and get a flu shot this year, just to take some pressure off our healthcare system. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Meg Roberts for Here and Now.
Well, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is virtually visiting Memorial University tonight for a town hall meeting. He'll be answering questions about issues facing post-secondary institutions during the pandemic, alongside MP Seamus O'Regan. MUN students, faculty, and staff were invited to submit their questions. The university says it has chosen 20 of them at random. The event starts at 8 o'clock Island time and is expected to run for an hour. It'll be streamed live on YouTube. Well, moving from federal to municipal politics, former provincial cabinet minister Sean Skinner is the new councillor for Ward 2 in St. John's. He took 23% of the vote in yesterday's by-election. Skinner was the Ward 2 councillor from 1993 to 1997.
From my perspective, the key thing that I needed to understand was get back and make sure you understand the key issues. And the key issues haven't changed a whole lot from the 1990s. You know, people want to live in safe neighborhoods, people want to be able to get around their city, and people want a city that they can afford to live in.
Well, Sean Skinner will talk more about the challenges facing his district, including vacant properties. That's coming up in about 20 minutes on Here and Now. Well, the province is offering assistance in the search for Jordan Natterer. The 25-year-old has been missing in the British Columbia wilderness for 12 days. Police called off the search on Saturday. Jordan's parents have flown across the country from St. John's to try to find their son. The family says since officials suspended their search, they found clues that put Jordan in a lesser searched area. They want the authorities to reactivate the effort and comb through the new location. The province says it's in contact with BC's Justice Department and is offering help.
We had another conversation this morning that led to a subsequent conversation about an hour or so ago, and you know, we're hopeful that that the search will resume. You know, as a parent, myself as a parent, and looking at the circumstance, if you just sort of think, you have a family who's a country away, they're on the other side of the country, and any support that we can offer that family right now is very important.
A project postponed in the Marystown area due to the pandemic. Coming up, we'll hear more about job losses from Grieg and L.
Temperatures are going to be more like a roller coaster as we head through the next couple of days. I'll have all those details in your full forecast coming up.
This weather forecast is brought to you by Newfoundland and Labrador Tourism. Take the time to explore this fall. Learn more at stayhomeyear.ca.
Ashley is here now with a look at the weather forecast. Another beautiful day in St. John's. It was a really warm start to the day, too.
It was, yeah. Early this morning, actually, and just after midnight, we saw warm temperatures. Let's take a look at what those temperatures were across the board. 16 degrees, that was that temperature. Around 1 or 2 in the morning, it was 16 in St. John's, and those temperatures have steadily been dropping through the day. Similar temperatures across the board. 13 degrees in Corner Brook today, 3 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and then 2 to 4 degrees across the northern portions of Labrador as well. Now, the temperatures have declined quite dramatically. Only 6 degrees in Gander right now, 10 in St. John's, and then we've got temperatures in the single digits across the rest of the province. 2 degrees in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. Same thing for Nain and Lab City. Now you're currently sitting at -3. So what we have going on is an area of high pressure, and behind that another area of low pressure. That's going to move in and is bringing that snow up through portions of Labrador right now. The radar not picking up on it because it hasn't come into my system yet, but we are seeing some rain down along the southern portions of the Avalon, and the risk of showers will generally continue as we head through the night tonight, certainly into the early morning hours for the south and then along the west coast, which will be heavy at times as you get after midnight. And then that snow will move across Labrador as well and then head towards the northern peninsula. Now, higher elevations is more than likely where you're going to see a rain-snow mix tonight. Should fall as rain down along the surface. But other than that, it is going to be periods of rain. That'll move through towards the early morning hours as well, with temperatures tonight into the single digits. So you'll note a wind shift. Those northeasterlies is why we're seeing these cooler temperatures, but they're going to shift back to southwesterlies or southeasterlies depending on where you are across the province, across the island rather. So 6 to 7 degrees in those lower lying areas, 2 to 3 degrees tonight, and then up through Labrador -2, -3 for Lab City. Those winds will generally ease, but again, ramping up, so 20 to as much as 30 kilometers per hour across the island. Now, tomorrow, this will continue, the potential for some showers, at least through the first half of the day. As we head into the afternoon, we'll start to see some clearing skies. However, some lingering showers possible along the west coast. Same thing in the east as well. So we'll see some showers and some peaks of sun. Eventually going to see some clearing as we head into the evening hours, and then things will taper off up through portions of Labrador. So the potential for some flurries, certainly, even maybe even for the northern peninsula as well as we head into the evening hours as some of that cooler air moves in. So keep that in mind. As far as snowfall totals go, right now it's looking like the most will be for the west, so anywhere from 5 to 10 centimeters of snow tonight. Trace to 5, maybe a little bit higher in those higher elevations as you head towards the interior, and then along the strait, 5 to 10 centimeters is possible, but right along the strait and again in those lower levels, it'll likely fall as rain tonight, and into tomorrow those flurries will continue, so it'll probably bring your accumulations closer to 5 centimeters. Here's where you'll be sitting temperature wise. Still have that 18-19 degree mark for St. John's, with the winds breezy again tomorrow out of the west or southwest, anywhere from 50 to as much as 60 kilometers per hour. Temperatures a little bit cooler as you head towards the west coast into the low teens, 12 degrees for Corner Brook, and then about 9 for St. Anthony tomorrow afternoon. Up through Labrador, you're looking at these chilly temperatures continuing. So Lab City only hovering around the 0 degree mark, and then as you head towards the interior and then coastal areas again, 4 or 5 degrees through the day, but mixing in some of that snow potential for Cartwright into the afternoon. So as we head into Friday, we're going to see things, another ridge of high pressure move in. That will keep things relatively calm. Then the next area of low pressure will move in. This will bring some snow potentially again. Another shot of snow up through Labrador with showers moving through the island. However, these cooler temperatures will move in. So we're looking at daytime highs only about 6 or 7 degrees through the day. Up through Labrador, similar temperatures as what we've been seeing. And then a little bit of a warm up up as we head into Saturday, back into those double digits, but it will stay generally cloudy, it looks like at this point. So it's all thanks to a pattern change. So there's that warm air moving off. We'll see a trough move in. That's actually Hurricane Epsilon that's going to move well south of Newfoundland. We'll probably just see some cloud cover and maybe some waves with it. But then that cooler air will move in, and it looks like it's going to stick around for a little while into the beginning of November at this point. So here's where you'll be sitting, back down to seasonable temperatures, about 10 degrees by Sunday, and then back into those single digits on Monday. For central Newfoundland, similar forecast as far as the temperature dip goes. It is looking like we'll see some snow for western Newfoundland as we headed to the end of the weekend, and then the beginning of next week looks cool as well. And then 2 to 4 degrees for eastern Labrador, and then in the west you're looking at dipping back down into those minus single digits. So there's a shot of Lab West. That was this morning, snowy sunrise. Thank you to Mark for sharing that with us. And if you have any weather photos to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
More job losses in this province today because of the pandemic. Grieg NL announced it's postponing a large construction project in the Marystown area. The aquaculture company deferred plans to build a post-smolt building. That's a land-based facility that would hold young salmon in tanks while they continue to mature. Nearly 200 workers with Grieg were supposed to be involved in that construction. Joining me now is the communications director for Grieg NL, Perry Power. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Why has Grieg decided to postpone this project?
Well, while Newfoundland is physically an island, we're not an island when it comes to the world economically. And unfortunately, COVID-19 has impacted the salmon markets as a result, and investments are halted. That directive was given by our head company. Due to this market uncertainty, Grieg Seafood Newfoundland will reduce the pace of investments and postpone the construction of what's called the post-smolt building. The rest of the construction projects, which right now are centered around a unit called the smoltification unit, will be completed according to the plan.
And can you talk about the people who are affected by this decision? How many workers found out today that they're losing their jobs?
Oh, that's a tough one for us, both professionally and personally. These are our neighbors. We're looking with the construction arm, which is a standalone company called Grieg NL Development. There are 193 people employed. We're looking at approximately 100 who are laid off today. So this is a very sad day for our company. And the rest will continue on to complete the smoltification building and give us the necessary space to fulfill our requirements for biomass leading into the next few years. So basically, we're going to have enough room to grow all our salmon. It just means the large saltwater one, we're going to have to put that construction on hold. And I want to emphasize, it is on hold until the markets recover.
So a total of 193 workers directly affected by this postponement, but what about the extended effects? I'm thinking about the pipe fitters, the concrete layers, the lumber and hardware suppliers, the lost business for the area.
Yes, and that's a very good point, Carolyn. Regrettably, we have a lot of other people who are going to be affected by this, both locally across the province and across Canada, who are going to be affected, and we certainly feel that along with them. So it's a difficult day indeed for us.
And you talk about the downturn in salmon markets, but are there other challenges associated with the pandemic that influence the company's decision to put the project on hold?
This was a global decision to halt investment because of the market situation. There have no doubt been challenges. Everything from one just has to go to your local hardware store and look up the price of a piece of lumber or nails or screws, and you know that COVID has had its effect on costs. But this is not purely driven by that. It is driven by the low price of salmon in the market right now. and one looks south to the border and ask yourself, are people going out to dinner? Those sorts of questions. That has an effect on our market. We are hopeful that as soon as the markets recover, then we will receive the go-ahead to move ahead and build the post-Molte and beyond.
Well, Perry Power, thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks, Carolyn, for taking the time, and our best wishes to all the folks who are affected by this today.
Businesses shutting down, people not working, all of that has a negative effect on the budget of the city, and it could be drastic. We could be in for some very tough, tumultuous times. I hope we're not, but we need to prepare for that.
Coming up, Anthony speaks with St. John City Council Ward 2 winner Sean Skinner.
I think we're going to have a serious...
Well, our next guest has done it before, and he's done it again. Sean Skinner, re-elected in municipal politics at St. John City Hall. Mr. Skinner, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Anthony.
You know, you used to be a cabinet minister, now you're coming back. Is this like going back to the Little Leagues here?
No, not at all. This is like coming home. I've my first foray in elected government was here at St. John City Council back in the mid-90s. I loved it then, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it again now. So I'm looking forward to this.
As you know, even before COVID, the city was facing a number of issues. I want to talk to you a bit about real estate. As you know, a lot of people aren't going to work, they're working from home. I'm looking at the commercial real estate picture in the city. I just see rents doing this, and if rents go down, that means a lot less money for this place. How big a challenge are we looking at with commercial real estate?
I think we're going to have a serious challenge to face. I think you're right on the rents. Rents will go down because there will be more vacancies, and vacancies mean no rent, and that means there's not going to be as many businesses paying taxes here. So I think the city has to look at that in terms of how we manage commercial realty, how we consider it as a source of income, and we're going to have to come up with a strategy to deal with the changing landscape on that. I don't have all the answers for it right now, but I can tell you it's something we're definitely going to have to look at.
I guess the magnitude changes as well, because if you have lower rents and people aren't going to work in the buildings they used to, that means, you know, if I ran a hot dog stand or had other restaurants or stores, that means people aren't coming to work, they're not coming to my stores. What's the trickle down of all this? I mean, what's the magnitude?
So I think the repercussions of this are going to be very, very large. The ripple effect is going to be so large. We don't know yet, I would say to you, we don't understand yet the quantum of how much this is going to affect our budget. I think we've got some time to prepare for it, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to do that. We'll get the team that I'm joining now on Monday, the council team, we'll get our heads wrapped around that, and before next year's budget, we'll be able to have some processes, some way of dealing with what I think is going to be a declining revenue base and a changing way that business is done in the city, and not just this city, but across the country.
That's true. We're not facing this alone. I think every city is facing the same kind of thing. When you decided to come back into politics, how did COVID-19 figure into your thinking? Did you at one point think, you know what? This is not what I wasn't going back to City Hall to deal with a pandemic. I want to go to City Hall to deal with roads and buildings and the things, you know. Did it affect your judgment?
Not really. I mean, being a councillor is basically serving the residents and serving the citizens, and you never know what the service that you need to provide is going to be. So from my perspective, the key thing that I needed to understand was get back and make sure you understand the key issues. And the key issues haven't changed a whole lot from the 1990s. You know, people want to live in safe neighborhoods, people want to be able to get around their city, and people want a city that they can afford to live in. And that's the real challenge I think we're going to have, dealing with those kinds of issues.
All right, Sean Skinner, thank you very much for making time, and good luck before you get sworn in on Monday.
Thank you very much, Anthony. I appreciate your time.
From municipal to federal politics now. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau won a high-stakes game of political brinkmanship today. His minority government survived a confidence vote in the House of Commons this afternoon. Had the Liberals lost, it would have triggered a snap election. The vote was over a Conservative motion to set up a special committee to investigate pandemic spending and alleged government corruption. Salima Shivji has more on a showdown that went down to the wire.
The chorus was deafening from the opposition.
It won't be me that caused the election, I can tell you that much. It's going to be the Prime Minister.
The only Canadian who would like to have an election today is the Prime Minister.
They say that all of this, the threat of a snap election during a pandemic, is the government's fault for making a motion to create a committee into a confidence vote. And yet,
I don't want an election. I think that what we need right now is to work together.
I don't think Canadians want an election.
The insistence from the Liberals that they don't want an election either, even as they play tough with the opposition parties.
It is a motion that really drips with no confidence in the government.
All leaving the NDP in a tough spot, not wanting to immediately rush to side with the government, but also under pressure from labor unions, desperate for legislated help to survive the COVID crisis. And so,
the New Democrats will not give Prime Minister Trudeau the election he's looking for. We're not going to be used as an excuse or a cover.
Singh, careful not to fully play his hand before the vote, wouldn't reveal exactly how his party would avoid an election.
Mr. Speaker, I vote against the motion.
But the vote went the Liberals' way, with the Greens also on side, and the Conservatives promising to keep at it.
We're here to ask questions in accordance with our role as an opposition party.
What is still pending is exactly how the opposition will press the government on their COVID spending, including the now cancelled WE contract, with the ruling Liberals filibustering into committees. But yet again, the NDP, however reluctantly, is the Liberal government's main partner in the dance that is a minority parliament, with the very real possibility that we could be back on the brink of a possible election sometime soon. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Ottawa.
Welcome back to Here and Now. A candlelight vigil is being held at 7 o'clock tonight at St. John City Hall to mourn those killed while protesting police violence in Nigeria. This a day after dozens of protesters were hurt in a shooting in Lagos. The sound of shots rang out again today, and protesters could be seen running away. In Lagos, demonstrators defied a new round-the-clock curfew. Police in Nigeria's largest city used tear gas, and smoke could be seen billowing from the city center. After nearly 2 weeks of unrest, the country's president says law enforcement reforms are gathering pace. Well, the European Union has removed Canadians from its list of approved travelers. That's due to concerns about the spread of COVID-19. Canada had been on a list of 11 countries where travel to the EU was approved. Canada, Tunisia, and Georgia were dropped today, while Singapore was added. Not every EU country follows the list. The decision doesn't ban travel immediately. Details are still to come. And speaking of international travel, lawyers representing hundreds of frustrated families across Canada have filed class action lawsuits against an educational tour company and 2 insurance firms. They're fighting to get refunds for school trips canceled last spring because of the pandemic. 7 schools in this province are waiting for reimbursements. It's estimated the company owes $16 million. CBC's Karen Pauls has the latest.
This is where Owen Mungie wanted to spend his 18th birthday.
When you're in a place like Prague with a legal drinking age of 18, what teenager doesn't want to say that they drank legally on a high school trip? But there's also just seeing a part of the world that I've never really seen before.
But the trip was canceled because of COVID-19 travel restrictions. Now he and his mom are 2 of the plaintiffs in one of the class action lawsuits.
I'm in it for the long haul. You know, if the insurance companies are looking for a fight, they're going to get one.
Filed jointly by law firms in St. John's and Toronto, this lawsuit is demanding full refunds and damages from the parent company of tour operator Explorica Canada and the 2 insurance companies.
We have received over 750 direct emails from parents, so we do think that we are in tune to the issue.
2 more class actions have been filed by another Toronto law firm. They target the insurance companies. Carter Adnams and his dad Scott are plaintiffs in the case against Arch Insurance. Carter raised nearly $3,100 for his Costa Rica trip and hasn't seen a penny back yet.
It was really hard just the day before to find out that we're not going.
They went to a different law firm because they thought the original group was moving too slowly.
This isn't about one law firm or another. It's about trying to get money back that we're entitled to from the various insurers.
Their lawyer says no one disputes the money is owed, but no one wants to take responsibility.
My experience with insurance companies, there's no negotiation with them. They either do what is right or they have to be forced to do what is right.
A judge will have to decide which of the class actions will be certified, and the court may ask both groups to work together. Once a class action is certified, all eligible families will be included unless they opt out. None of the companies involved were available for comment. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Immigration into Canada has slowed to a crawl since international border closures began in March. That could be bad news for Atlantic Canadian employers looking to fill jobs. Shayna Luck has that story.
Hanlon Barlamento speaks with her husband each day by video conference, their baby by her side. It makes her sad to see the baby reaching for the screen.
My daughter is looking for a father figure, and he can't be here with us right now.
They're in Halifax while he's in the Philippines, waiting to emigrate. The family hasn't been told when their application will be processed.
After everything started, they don't even know. They can't say anything.
According to a senior economist at RBC, this kind of scenario is concerning for Atlantic Canada.
If this kind of keeps up, we're in danger of falling off track.
Andrew Agopsowitz has analyzed the latest numbers released by the Federal Immigration Department. He predicts Canada will take in only 70% of the immigrants it aimed to attract this year. He says that could be costly, as this region relies heavily on immigrants to grow its labor force.
The Atlantic provinces are less prepared, I think, to handle that shock than, say, Central Canada or the West.
This immigration lawyer often helps employers trying to bring in international healthcare or critical infrastructure workers.
You have employers who are working really hard to get people here and want them here yesterday, and then they're afraid they're going to lose these people to move to maybe a different country or just decide that they're going to stay put.
Prince Edward Island is still leading the country in population growth, although it has slowed. The local Chamber of Commerce isn't worried yet, but its members are watchful.
We're seeing also some new interprovincial migration that's happening. PEI and the Atlantic provinces are seen as a very safe destination.
Her members are re-examining their hiring strategies.
Overall, from an immigration perspective, I don't think it's time to sound the alarms.
Immigration Minister Marco Mendicino acknowledges COVID has had an impact, but says through measures like putting more services online, his department is still making progress towards its processing goals. Shayna Luck, CBC News, Halifax.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Now we have a special report for you coming from one of our special junior correspondents. 7-year-old Coast Meester of St. John's is a multitasking reporter with an enthusiasm that is contagious.
This week on Your Street, Coast tells us all about his really cool video games he's been playing. Take a look.
Your street, ooh, ooh, ooh. On your street, ooh, ooh, ooh. On your street, ooh, ooh, ooh. On your street.
Hello everybody, my name is Coast Meester and today I'm going to be playing some Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. And this is any ordinary Mario Kart game. You race in your own living room. Yes. Today I'm going to be playing the Ghost Valley theme. This is one of my favorite themes just because I love the theme of it, like being like a ghost level. That's one of my favorite parts of a Mario game, ghost levels. Oh yeah, and if you hit the booze, you do not want to see what happens. Yeah, that happens if you hit a boo. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching. Back to you, CBC.
On your street.
Thank you so much, Coast, for that wonderful report. I must be really out of touch with video games because I didn't know that it could mirror, you could have like a car going around like that would mirror the game.
No, that's
what
really
was happening, right?
Yeah, I think that's what was happening. That was pretty cool. I mean, I just played Nintendo last weekend, so that's where my head's at. Well, if you happen to have a young reporter on your hand, we want to hear from you. Visit cbc.ca/NL and visit the community page.
Yes, more of that, please. That's it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night.
Good night.